Something is wrong with the universe in DC Universe Rebirth one shot. So I really don't know how to sort of talk about this issue. This is amazing reboot, rebirth, I guess you could call it, for the DC Universe at whole. Something it was greatly needed after the New 52. But yeah, like first and foremost, this issue is absolutely incredible. Like everything about this issue was awesome, really well constructed and everything. And what was really even great about it is that this is something that could, if it wasn't in the hands of Jess Johns, or if maybe he was sort of a new writer and not some veteran writer who's been writing comics for years, this could have gone so badly and ended up so bad for DC. It could have, destroyed the whole company and, caused fans just to like completely disregard them in comics from now on. But I think this is going to bring something DC sorely need, and that's more people reading their comics. This it was an absolutely fantastic issue. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about it since it was like 70 odd pages of comics. So that's almost a graphic novel, And yeah, it's just amazing. So this comic is told from the perspective of Kid Flash, Wally West, a character I know a little bit about. He's not someone I'm all too familiar with. I've seen him come in and out of comics that I've read in the past and everything. He's a pretty cool character. He's fun and everything. Kind of like how Flash is, and they keep making a point of that, like from where Wally was, which is the pre-Flashpoint universe. He always says that there's something missing from this New 52 universe, and that's like love and the legacy and heroes actually being heroes, pretty much. Like he said, like Flash would always, sort of stick around and just talk with the people he saved and help them. And there's a great moment there where one day, like, a kid wanted pizza. So Barry went and got the kid pizza and everything, and to pay the pizza guy off, he renovated the pizza guy's kitchen and workplace and everything. So that's really fun, and that's something Barry Allen would do, as the Flash. He's always been sort of this little spark of hope and everything in the DC universe. And that's basically Kid Flash's reason for like trying to come over into the New 52. He's trying to save them since he's found out that there's been some type of force that has taken 10 years away from the DC universe, from their universe, and is the force that basically caused the end of Flashpoint, where Flash came back after the events of Flashpoint, and it was the New 52. So Kid Flash is spending this whole issue sort of going to people that he's trying to like warn people about what's coming on. He goes to Bruce Wayne first and sort of tries to get him to remember his father's letter and everything. He's trying to get all these people to remember stuff, and then he goes to, I believe, Johnny Thunder from the Justice Society, tries to get him to remember like the Justice Society and all these other heroes and everything, and it's not working because no one can remember him because he was not in the New 52, so no one can remember him until he finally gets to Barry, and he makes Barry remember. And it was like this scene absolutely amazing. There's been a couple of scenes in this week of comics as well, in other books I'll talk about later on, that have just sort of moved me a little bit, like not to tears or anything, but like moved me in a way that haven't been moved in comics for a while. And that is what DC needed. They needed this legacy, this sense of family, this sense of like something bigger. It's not just this little self-contained, it's like this big world out there, and it's really hard to explain without sort of spoiling it, and I'll get to spoilers a little later on in my review. But yeah, it's absolutely fantastic, the scenes with Kid Flash and Barry, like when Barry saves him from the Speed Force, and they hug, and Barry says how could he have forgotten him and everything. It's absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. And yeah, a lot of this comic also, as well as setting up the actual comics that come after it in Rebirth, like we get some really cool stuff with Jaime Reyes and Ted Cord, the Blue Beetles and everything, and they're working on the Bug, Ted's sort of mobile Batcave, as he puts it, which I thought was great. And it's great, especially Gary Frank's art, where you see like Blue Beetle, Jaime Reyes take off for school, and Dr. Fate comes in. That was really weird. I haven't been keeping up with Dr. Fate, but like this Dr. Fate was like proper Dr. Fate. Like he wasn't some kid in a sweater with a helmet. He was like proper grown Dr. Fate. I have no idea what the hell's going on there, whether he's back to being Kent Nelson or whatnot. But he comes with a warning about some things about the Beetle being magic and everything. So they're bringing that back to it, and just the look on Ted Kord's face when he says magic, like it's this big grin, and he's like straightening his goggles and everything. Like that's what DC needs now. Just fun, light-hearted, a sense of adventure, that sort of stuff. And we also get some stuff from the Atom, who has shrunk down into the microverse. He's found like this microverse, and he needs Ryan Choi to come and get him, and he's left a belt for him, a an Atom belt, and he needs him to come fish him out of the time stream. And yeah, that seems pretty interesting. I don't know if he's getting a book or not. I'm not sure like which book he's going to be in, but I'm really interested. I remember reading some stuff about Ryan Choi like a long time ago. And yeah, it would always kind of intrigue me, especially with like the Atom and everything, like going into like sub universes and having all these adventures and everything. So that sounds really cool. And again, they bring in the whole thing back to legacy, and all these heroes about legacy heroes and everything. Heroes who have had families and uh, sidekicks who have taken over from them, like what they're doing with the Atom and everything. Another really intriguing thing that really intrigued me, especially since because it's related to Superman as well, is that someone from the Legion of Superheroes has come back in time, and she needs to talk to Superman, but obviously she doesn't know what's going on with Superman at the moment. And yeah, I'm not really too sure who it is. It could be Saturn Girl, but if it was, like, why wouldn't she just use like her mind powers and whatnot? So I'm not really too sure who it is. They say they had like a kind of French accent. I keep been trying to like sort of pick up on who that might be. But yeah, I'm really intrigued, and I hope Legion get a book or like a big story arc in like Justice League or a Superman book. That'd be amazing. And yeah, lots of really cool stuff happened in this book. We obviously got more Kid Flash stuff, and what was great is that for people who maybe haven't read Flashpoint in a while, or maybe even haven't read Flashpoint, this does a really good job of sort of filling in the gaps. Like, it sort of tells you what happened, like when Barry went to go and try and stop Reverse Flash from killing his mother, how it just destroyed the timeline and created the new 52. But before that, how it created, Thomas Wayne was now the Batman, and Aquaman was at war and everything, and all the stuff, and how him traveling to the future and then back and to the past sort of stuffed everything up and created the New 52. And in that moment when it was being created, something came in and grabbed it and stole the 10 years and actually created the New 52 and sort of stuffed up the timeline so that the pre-Flashpoint universe sort of came to a stop, more or less. It was still there, but it couldn't be accessed and couldn't be used and whatnot and everything. And that person apparently is Dr. Manhattan from Watchmen. All through all this, like while he's been doing that, I'm guessing he's kind of a villain now. And I guess you could sort of see him as a villain in Watchmen and in before Watchmen and stuff. It's gonna be really weird. This is gonna like divide a lot of people. And as I said before, if this was done by a different writer altogether, like I don't know who else could do this. Like the way it was meticulously put in, like I could see some other writer using Dr. Manhattan, like he'll just appear in the page. You never actually see Dr. Manhattan in this. It's always alluded to that it is Dr. Manhattan, and it is. You do find out at the end that it is. But also it was really interesting. They brought back Pandora. I don't know if people remember who Pandora was, but she's apparently like sort of like the guardian of the New 52, and Dr. Manhattan straight up murders her when she's been trying to sort of protect the New 52 from happening, and it was really weird. Like he corners her in like a back alley and just like explodes her like he does Rorschach. Really cool. So yeah, it's cool that they sort of brought her back after she sort of disappeared after Trinity War. But yeah, like amazing issue, absolutely amazing. Again, they didn't show Doctor Manhattan, which is amazing. You just had all these like little teasers, like Batman when Kid Flash came to see him in the Batcave when it ripped open the timeline. A little comedian pin came and fell into the Batcave, and Batman finds it, and he's intrigued in what it is. And then we, cut to Mars, and it is Mars, and Doctor Manhattan is fixing his father's watch, which we've seen in Watchmen and everything, and we know it's definitely Doctor Manhattan because in the text boxes, which little text boxes actually also become sort of old school text, sort of like drawn in, not like how like the new ones are always typed in. These ones were looked like they were drawn and inked in, which is I thought that was a great detail. Yeah, he's fixing the watch, and we know Doctor Manhattan's name before he became Doctor Manhattan was Adrian, and that name is mentioned, so it's pretty much all confirmed. And also, it is alluded to that the Doomsday Clock has sort of reset, and it's reset to 15 minutes to midnight. So that could mean a number of different things happening for this new DC Rebirth universe. I'm really intrigued to see what exactly is going to happen. But yeah, definitely grab this issue. And also, I should mention that before you read this issue, you should probably read Superman 52 and Justice League 50, since there are parts in this book that maybe if you haven't been keeping up with those books, you might not understand. But generally, you could probably get away with not reading it. And just stay tuned to my channel because I'll be doing a sort of guide to Superman and sort of explaining his sort of role in this whole rebirth, since it's seems to be a little bit confusing to people, and I can see definitely why, especially for new readers. So I'm going to try and explain it a little bit and maybe talk about some books you could read for this particular Superman to sort of get you ready for Rebirth. But yeah, I'm going to give this issue a 10 out of 10.